So once again, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first ever combined JCPSG Parent Seminar. So thank you so much for joining us this evening. So tonight, we're going to focus on several things. One, the evolving tertiary education landscape. Competencies for tertiary education success. Employability. What are we, or rather what are, employers seeking in terms of skills, knowledge, and competencies? How can parents strike that balance between providing support and fostering independence? Balancing support, autonomy, and expectations as well.
Yeah, and I think it's a big challenge even for employers because when you look at the landscape of education today, there's a saying that 75% of the jobs which are going to hit the market in 5 years' time or 10 years' time are not even invented yet. Mm-hmm. For instance, if you look at prompt engineering today, which is one of the hottest things, one of the hottest roles, I saw an ad for a prompt engineer in the US going for $300,000 a year. And what's a prompt engineer, right? Someone who trains the AI, the ChatGPT. So the question is, it's a moving target. What do you then train or guide your kids to in a landscape that's not been invented yet? And that's, I think, one of the trickier things. Social media manager. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, the technology pieces are all there, but how do we ready them for that? And I think that's one of the biggest challenge, if you ask me. What the answer is, I think we have to train our children on being agile, and I think letting them fly as well, letting them discover what their strengths are. It's not an easy task, but I think as the evening progresses, we'll probably have very good ideas from the panelists here tonight. Yeah, I mean, it's a whole mix of attributes that employers look for, especially during the interview process. But in terms of your university degree, which university you're from, it's probably relevant for your first or second job. Beyond that, it's going to be, you're going to stand on your own 2 feet. You're going to stand on your own achievements, your own capabilities, and your track record. So it's an important piece of paper to have as a start. It's what you build on afterwards. That's why however, to be fair, if you do go to a university that focuses on learning rather than memorizing, then you come out being very career ready. I think that's really important.
I think careful research is very important to try to understand what subjects or what discipline you want to study. Do your due diligence and sit down with your children to think about what they really want to do in 5 to 10 years' time. So I think what we hope to do is to give students, to allow them to have an open mind towards what they want to do. And I would encourage parents to also keep an open mind and consider like a wide variety of courses. Right? Talk to people, talk to professors, talk to industry partners, career coaches, because what you pick up in school is just one side of your whole career ahead of you, 40 years, you were saying, right? Often, if a child does something that they shouldn't be doing, right, that the parents can feel it. So it's finding that balance, give them autonomy and be open to their choices sometimes, and sit down with them, listen to them, why do they want to do certain things. And the way that Adrian put it is show them you care. And when they know that you care, that's when they sit down and really listen to you, and they will take in your inputs and they'll find that balance for themselves. I think at the end of the day, we want to give students that sort of opportunity to explore different areas. If that's an area that they're interested in, they can go ahead. If that is not an area that they're interested in, eventually they still graduate having gone through it, but they know that they don't want to do it anymore. Then they'll change track and do something else.
Even if your kid knows he wants to do finance, I would suggest tell him to do an internship in something else. Because sometimes, I don't know why, we believe we know our way, but we are afraid to see the other ways that maybe makes us more happy. So be curious.
Another question which a lot of parents ask me is, then should my child specialize or generalize, get a specialized degree or general degree? Be a jack of all trades, master of some. I think one important key for us as parents is to allow them to range and experiment. So that's
No, I think that's absolutely true, right? They have to try, and then they know what they like and what they don't like.
The reality is we encourage our students to try lots of internships, right? When they're in university. During my time, I did 2 internships as a student, and I was already considered like more than the rest. Now, if I do 2, that's less than average. We've got about 2.7, I think, or 3. Right? There are students who do 5, 6 internships, and they try everything: private sector, public sector, NGOs, charities. They do everything so that they can eventually find that sweet spot. And when they come out, I've got some students who've just graduated and they're already in their 3rd job now, because they went in the first 3 months, they realized that that's really not what they wanted to do. They switched to something else, stayed there for a while, and now they got poached by someone else. So I think the career pathway is not like a linear sort of thing. Sometimes you have to take a dive and do something else, and then you come back up, right? You have to take a dive to kind of shoot back up again.
So what we realize, the people who thrive the most are those who are agile, who can learn, who can adapt. And we always see, what you said, it's never linear, it's hopping around. So what we realize, the people who thrive the most are those who are agile, who can learn, who can adapt. So it's about teaching our kids to leverage technology to learn. So my daughter, she's in Sec 3, she's in St. Margaret's. I used to coach her biology early part of the year, okay? And I told her, if you have any questions, come to me. And she used to come to me a lot. And then ChatGPT came out, okay? And the amazing thing is, now she has a process. In the old days, you have a textbook here, you study the textbook, you listen to the teacher, right? You got a textbook. You don't understand it, you ask that. So I was spending a lot of time with her explaining biology. Okay, now what she does is she listens to the teacher at school, she reads the textbook, and then she goes to YouTube to learn. If you're talking about cell cytoplasmic organelles, okay, she's going in, she's looking at YouTube videos. And I was watching it, and I was watching the YouTube videos, and I'm going, this is amazing, because when I was studying the smooth endoplasmic reticulum and all this stuff, right, it was only 2D, you know. With a 3D animation, it's like, oh, that's what it looks like. So she will watch one video, another video, a third video, and these are all just 5-minute snippets. She will understand it, and if she has any other questions, she doesn't ask me. She goes to ChatGPT and asks, can you explain what's the difference between SER and RER to a 10-year-old kid? It explains to. And right now, I'm almost hands-off. She only comes to me for the most difficult questions she can't understand, so I've kind of outsourced her to technology. But the learning is there, and I think, and some parents I share this with, you say, but that's cheating. I say that's not cheating. That's learning. That's leveraging technology, isn't it?
It's really using it in a smart way.
Yeah.
One day maybe you want to go to your boss to let him or let her know that you don't like her management style. Maybe one day.
Maybe one.
Okay, you don't know how to do it, so you train yourself. Okay, then you ask ChatGPT, you see the outcome, and then you are better. You know how to do it better. But at the end of the day, you are the one who has to do it, not ChatGPT. ChatGPT is not going to go in front of your boss to tell her that you don't like the management style. So now the institutions just need to embrace technology, to teach, to use it, to, again, improving skills. First one, soft skills, but by respect for my colleague, let's call it essential skills. And then the second one is interdisciplinary knowledge. I think it's fundamental. We discussed that already. And the one that we didn't discuss a lot And I'm a bit surprised because we are in Singapore, and in love with Singapore because of this is cross-cultural awareness. I think it's also time now to realize that living on your own in a company without making business with different nationalities, different cultures, this is not going to happen. With our globalized world, you have to master how to handle a different culture, a different approach. And this is also something that we are embracing in the curriculums to make sure that our students have these, I don't know if it's a skill, but at least this knowledge, this awareness.
One thing that what we need is resilience, the ability to bounce back. It's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to fail. Own up to the mistake. Say sorry and say, "I'll do better next time." Bounce back, right? And I think that's absolutely vital in today's world. In the past, when people make mistakes, they were demonized sometimes.
Yes.
Right? You're just like seen as a failure, right? People, you know, most of you would have heard this before, right? You did badly in school, then the parents will say, "Yeah, you go be a cleaner." But I've got a friend who's a cleaner, and he's making millions of dollars now, right? Because he started his own cleaning company. Well, it's a friend of my brother-in-law's who I happen to know, right? Alumni of SMU School of Accountancy. He decided not to do accounting. He opened his own cleaning company. But the reality is bouncing back, right? I think it's very important to learn from the mistakes and not beat yourself up about it and then come back again.
I think two is, number one is when they have failures, be there, talk them through it. The other way to teach them resilience is through example. As a career coach, as a career strategist, I help a lot of people who get retrenched. And when they get retrenched, especially us guys, we are very, our ego is very much attached to the job, right? And when you get retrenched, one of the first things I tell them is that, look, your kids are watching, okay? You have to show resilience. You go back home, explain everything, say, no, that's gone through this, it's a difficult patch, but we'll get through it. Your kids are watching. And how you handle stress, how you handle difficult periods, where children are watching, whether you get angry, whether you yell at the kids, whether you kick the dog, they're all watching you. So if you can demonstrate resilience and be open about it, I think it's important as to how to make our kids resilient. But I think if they observe us being resilient, I think that's important.
Personally, when I have to hire someone, I look at the values and I try to see if the values of the person in front of me are in line with the values of the company. Why? Because, you can have a very smart guy, some very smart kid, but if you don't feel emotions, if your company is an EQ company, something is wrong. If you don't feel hospitality, if your school is an hospitality business school, something is wrong. So something that it's important for the next generation, and this is more an advice, is that go do some research on the companies before you join them, so that you are sure that you align with the values.
So it's about knowing who you want to work with, why you want to work with them, and what do they offer that's aligned to you and how you value add, if I can summarize that.
As far as career is concerned, one of the biggest challenges for teenagers is that they don't know what they want to be when they grow up. And I can tell you, as a very experienced career coach, I meet 40-year-olds who do not know what they want to be when they grow up as well. Okay? They have career crisis at 40. It's very common. And they come to me and say, I don't know what I want to do, And then we unravel. So it's a journey that carries on. My advice to my children is just go explore what you want to do. Two things. One is for us, we can probably play the role of talent scout. See what they're actually interested in, what they're actually good at. My son is very good at communicating. He loves debating. And I was telling him, maybe you should try something else, something towards that line. My daughter has very high EQ. And as you know, she communicates well, she cares for people. And I hint to her, I said, maybe you should try HR. Could be a possible thing in HR. And this, and I'm not telling you you must be an HR manager. How we can influence as parents is to talent scout, and see what they're interested in, and provide them information and let them come to their own choices. And you know what? Sometimes I think it's okay if they make their own mistakes. If they hit a dead end, it's okay. You're there to help them out of it if they need your help. But I think it's okay to let them learn from mistakes sometimes.
I feel that a lot of times we, just building on what Luciano has said, a lot of times we celebrate successes. And when our children feel, as parents, we have this reaction that tells our children, you're a disappointment, sometimes. And that is so heartbreaking for a young person, because the people who they look to, who they believe, should believe in them, has stopped believing in them. So I think it's important for us to take stock. I think all of us in this room can say we all have failed in something. We've all failed. And if we can recognize that it's okay to fail, but then, as we say, resilience, stand up, dust it off, and say, okay, I'm going to try again. And if we, as parents, we can do that, I think we have this thing, a bit cliche, but a game changer, as I would say.